Hello and welcome back to Mainly Menswear. My name is Dwayne McLeod and I am glad that you're here. Recently I've been working on a pair of kind of silly summer shorts for the end of the summer season here in Maine, and it occurred to me that this would be a good time to do a little video on some trouser making. I am using the Jedediah Pant by Thread Theory, which has been my TNT pattern for years. And I don't want anyone to think that this is a criticism of that pattern because it's really terrific and it's very popular with lots of men. This video is just going to involve switching up the order of sewing a bit that I think can make making these trousers a lot easier. And even if you're not making the Jedediah pant, I think that some of what I'm going to cover here will apply to other trousers as well. Basically, what I try to do is I try to get all the fussy work and the zipper out of the way as quickly as possible. And I find that this really makes the process of trouser making so much easier. So that being said, let's get started. Okay, let's get started. I have decided to make kind of a silly pair of shorts for what's left of the summer season here in Maine. And I'm going to be using the Thread Theory Jedediah Pants pattern, which has always been my TNT pattern. And I think you can tell by all of the coffee stains that are all over the directions here. Anyway, I purchased this kind of kooky sailboat fabric last summer from Metro Textiles in New York, and Kashi described this as a cotton twill, and it is definitely not a twill. Actually, it's probably more akin to almost like a decorator fabric. It's quite a coarse woven, has this like little sailboat pattern on it. And when I start a pair of pants, I always start with the pockets first. This version, I'm going to use the yoke and the patch pocket variation that goes with this pattern. I tried to match the pocket as best I could. There's a flat fell seam at the yoke, which gives a really nice clean finish on the inside of the trousers. And I've also added a little bit of like a bias binding to the raw edge of the pocket inside. And there are instructions in the booklet that comes with this pattern. The instructions are very comprehensive and they're well done. The front of this pattern has a slant pocket. I attempted to match here and failed. I think I forgot to account for one of the seam allowances. Anyway, it doesn't quite match up, but c'est la vie. It's sewing, and we all do the best we can. I don't think it's all that noticeable. One really nice feature of this pattern is that the pocket bags are finished with a French seam. Gives you a beautiful clean finish on the inside, and it also gives you a chance to maybe have a little fun with your sewing and use a contrasting fabric for the pocket bags and the bias binding. I always suggest that people pick up a yard of quilting cotton. If you go to the big box craft store, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about, you can usually pick up a cut of fabric for 40% off. And this is a really inexpensive way to really jazz up some of your sewing. The biggest change that I make when making the Jedediah pants revolves around the fly. And the information that I base these changes on comes out of David Page Coffin's book, Making Trousers. And he is a big fan of what is called a cut-on fly, and that's exactly what the Jedediah pant design has. His suggestion is that the cut-on fly be 2.5 inches wide from the center of the trouser. And this is the pattern piece from the Jedediah pant, and I think that he would consider the cut-on fly to be a little skimpy. It's only 1.75 inches wide. So what I have done is I've gone ahead and I have extended the cut-on fly portion of the pant pattern, and I think you can see here is like the original pattern. Here is the extra bit. And I've also transferred a couple of other lines from my pattern. The red line here is the center front of the trouser. And the blue dotted line is going to be where the zipper fly is, and this point is the zipper stop, and this is an important part to mark. Oddly enough, on this pattern, maybe it has been changed since I got my version, the zipper stop is not marked on the zipper shield, and what I have done is to transfer that mark over to the zipper shield. This is my much used zipper shield pattern piece, and here's where the zipper stop would be. There's a big hole in it because I've done so many tailor tacks to this point. But anyway, you would want to make sure that you have marked where the zipper stop is on the shield as well as on your pant front. And let me get all this stuff out of the way here. This is how my fronts eventually will look. The cut-on fly is a little wider than the pattern piece. I've marked here with a tailor tack where the zipper stop will go. And I've also bound the edges with a bias binding. That's suggested in the instructions, and it is a really nice way to finish these off inside. It's very easy to do this with one of the little clover bias makers. I think I bought all of these as a kit. I tend to use the blue one and the red one most frequently. For this project, I'm using the red one, which is an 18 millimeter bias maker, and it makes a bias that's probably about, 3/8 of an inch wide. It seems perfect for a pair of these trousers. Very easy to do, and really can elevate the inside of your garments significantly. I highly recommend it. So here is where I deviate wildly from the instructions that come with the Jedediah pant. My suggestion is to get this zipper in early in the process. I would do this right after making all of my pockets. And this may seem strange, but I think that you will find that this greatly simplifies the whole process of putting in a zipper, because everything is going to be flat. And I think that's so much easier than trying to get a zipper into like a fully formed pair of pants. So what we're going to do is put the two fronts together, right sides together, and you are just going to stitch from this point here, which is at the inseam, like about 5/8 inch away. You might want to be just a little bit further away, and you're going to stitch up along this line to a point 1/2 inch below your zipper stop. So it's just this very short little seam, maybe 2.5 to 3 inches long, which is going to hold the two fronts together. and you will be able to insert your zipper with everything flat on your work surface. And I think that you will find that this is so much easier. So what will follow here are just some shots of the process here of getting this zipper in. So here's the short little crotch seam that I was talking about. I've backstitched both at the start and finish of this seam. I know that the instructions call for reinforcing this with several rows of stitching. Personally, I've never had a problem with my pants or shorts blowing out in this region, but if you want to go ahead and do that, you can. Now that the two fronts are attached, it's very easy to kind of open this out, and on this pattern there are two notches up at the top of the pant pattern, and you are going to want to fold the right fly from this notch down to your mark for the zipper stop. In my case, I have a tailor tack here, but it's very easy to just fold this in under for your right hand fly. And what will happen here, this is the zipper, which has been attached to the zipper shield, and this will be placed in underneath the fold. You will match up the tailor tack to your zipper stop, and I will probably go ahead and base this into position close to the zipper teeth, and using a zipper foot on the machine, you will stitch from the zipper stop up to the top of the zipper. Okay, the right side of the fly is now complete. We'll turn our attention to the left side, and you will want to bring your left front up, and the directions show the pant in this sort of a position. Again, there are two notches at the top of the pant, and just pay attention to the illustration, and you're going to want to fold at this notch, and it will fold at the end of the stitching of the little seam that you did, and you will just fold along that line and bring the left side up and match the two notches up here at the top of the zipper. The instructions tell you to pin this, but I have found that there are so many layers here, it's almost impossible to get a pin in. So I just go ahead and put a little clip here, because you want to hold this into position. And you'll see that our zipper fly is nicely tucked in here. Nothing is going to be visible from the outside. At this point, you're going to turn the whole thing over, and you're going to want to get the zipper shield and this side of the pant out of your way. So you're going to kind of flip this over so that just the zipper tape is resting on the facing. And I would go ahead and probably baste this in place, and then using a zipper foot, you're going to stitch along the edge of the zipper. The last step of the zipper is perhaps the trickiest, and that's doing the top stitch on the outside of the left side of the fly. I know that the Thread Theory pattern calls for this to just be 1 inch over, and almost every pair of ready-to-wear pants that I own, the top stitching is 1.5 inches. And because we've widened the facings earlier on, it's possible to do this top stitch 1.5 inches over from the lap here. And your top stitch is going to come down and it's going to end here at the end of the little bit of stitching that we did in the first step. The top stitch is only between the outside of the pant and the facing. And to make that happen, you are going to need to get the zipper shield out of your way. So the zipper shield has to come over, and you will maybe want to baste this over just to make sure that you're not going to catch it in that top stitch. I've also encountered problems at the bottom where I've accidentally caught the bottom of the shield while I'm doing the top stitching. So if possible, I always try to also tuck this thing up before I do the top stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of baste this to make sure that it's all held over, and then I will go ahead and do my top stitching. So the zip is now complete. I think this is probably the trickiest part of making the Jedediah pant, and I hope that you see how much simpler this can be if it's done early on in the process with everything flat on your work surface. I did do the line of top stitching here. Because we ended that short little seam at the crotch 1/2 inch below the zipper stop, there's almost no chance that you're going to hit that, which would undoubtedly probably break your needle. The zipper is nicely tucked inside. Nothing is visible. Let's just open it up. You'll see the zipper shield on the inside. When we flip it over, I think it's an attractive way to finish these Jeds on the inside. Has a contrasting fly shield. The edges are nicely bound. I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. I just have a lot of basting to remove right now. So the next step will probably be to close up the inseam, which is done with a flat fill seam, and I think that will be much easier to do again with everything flat. I'll bind the side edges, do the side seams, and then we'll move along to the waistband. And I have had some requests for a little video on how to use band roll interfacing in a waistband. So that will be my next video, so please come back for that. In the meantime, I'm just going to continue to work away on these sort of silly shorts, and I hope that you enjoy the time in your sewing space. I wish you all happy end of summer sewing, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.